If you say you are strong, try this man and you will collect. Simply, you are fully protected. Nothing will happen.
So hello guys, what's up and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, your girl Barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. So it isn't news to a lot of us that only a few days ago, May Adultery, the estranged wife of Nollywood actor Yul Edochie, has slammed his other woman Judy with a whopping 100 million naira court suit. This information was made known by a publication from a humanitarian legal outfit, DPA, Due Process Attorney Family Clinic. A lot of people do not really understand the deeper underlying consequences of this action and their legal significance. So in today's video, I will be informing us about how all these things work, and I will be enlightening us of the many possible outcomes that may arise. Keep watching. So to get a deeper understanding of what has happened, I'm going to be reading that publication paragraph by paragraph and breaking it down to you guys. So many people are filled with confusion. In fact, some people have reached out to me. They do not understand what this lawsuit is about. They do not understand why an African man who they say is in our culture to marry multiple women is being sued or taken to court for marrying a second wife. So let me dive right into breaking it down into tiny little molecules for you to understand better. So the first paragraph says, for the avoidance of doubts, May Yul Edochie filed a divorce petition against Yul. She also filed against Judy as a party cited, and she's asking for 100 million naira in damages against Judy for adultery with her husband. Make no mistakes about it. Yul and Judy are not husband and wife, and cannot be so until Yul and May are divorced. It is a combination of delusion and absurdity for the two to call themselves husband and wife yet. Interesting. Now, in the Matrimonial Causes Act, which is the law that governs marriage, divorce, child custody, maintenance of spouses, and all of that, marriage is defined as the union between two persons, excluding any other, excluding every other person. Now, this law, this legislation does not support polygamy, does not endorse, does not recognize polygamy. I'm going to come to the cultural law aspect, okay? But I'm talking about statutes. Statutorily, polygamy is not recognized by our laws. Now, aside from the Matrimonial Causes Act, the Criminal Code, which is like the law that governs crime in the southern part of Nigeria, also prohibits polygamy. It categorizes it as a crime. In fact, let me read out that section to you. So section 370 of the Criminal Code says that anybody who, having a husband or a wife living, marries somebody else, and of course that marriage, the second marriage, is void, meaning it does not exist according to law, okay? That person is guilty of a felony and is liable to imprisonment of 7 years. Now, you guys, Nigeria as a country is a very dynamic and peculiar country. We have statutes, this kind of laws regulating us. We also have customary laws regulating us, which many times are even in sharp conflict with these statutory laws. And again, in some other parts of the country, we have the Sharia laws, which governs mostly the Islamic State. So there are several laws clashing here and there, and if you're not careful, you're going to get them all mixed up. Now, aside from bigamy, which I just read about, and which stipulates that whoever is guilty of bigamy is guilty of a felony and is liable to 7 years imprisonment. Aside from that law, there is another law that backs 100% what May is doing. Section 31 of the Matrimonial Causes Act provides that the party to a marriage can claim damages for adultery if such an act is not condoned. So there are two different legs here. If your spouse commits adultery and you condone it, you don't see anything wrong in it, you cannot sue for damages. But if you do not accept that adultery, if you have rejected it, just as May has, you can sue that person that's committed adultery with your husband for damages. And that is what the law says. It is legally backed. I'm sure a lot of people do not know that. Side chicks are possibly panicking right now, sweating. They didn't know that they can be dragged to court for sleeping with somebody else's husband. So let us go on with that. A lot of people have termed May as greedy or trying to capitalize on the whole situation materially and, milk these people dry. But on the contrary, this is what the law stimulates. And most times, it is not even the clients that even suggest these things, because many times the clients don't even know that such laws exist. It's usually the lawyers that, advocate for such things to come with the whole divorce petition. So it might not even be May's making. It certainly may not even be her own decision. I am 100% certain that her lawyer must have advised that in the whole divorce petition, let them sue for damages for adultery, because all of them comes in the same precedent. So damages for adultery is not restitutionary. It is more of compensatory, meaning, okay, you're not suing for damages to lay claims for what your husband possibly spent on that person. No, it is not restituting you. It is compensatory, just to compensate you for the emotional and mental trauma that that person must have caused you by committing adultery with your spouse. Now, the big question a lot of people would ask is, how do we reconcile this law with the other angle of the law, the African law, the cultural law, the customary law that gives a man the liberty to marry more than one wife? How do we reconcile this? Now, let me tell you what. Yes, according to traditional law and custom, a Nigerian man is at liberty to marry more than one woman. But in most cases, where a traditional law clashes with the statutory law, the statutory law will take prevalence. It will rank higher. It will be seen to override the traditional law. So a traditional law is valid in a situation as long as it does not contradict to a statutory law. So that is why some very crafty men that have negative agendas in the future would always kick against a court marriage. Because if a court marriage is not held and it's just a traditional marriage that took place, then that man is at liberty to do a whole lot, including getting married to a second woman. But when a court marriage comes in, the law governing court marriages completely abhors, completely refuses and rejects polygamy. So that is where it gets very tricky and very dicey. Now, apart from what the law says, another issue we have in Nigeria is the issue of enforceability. Now, there are laws that are made and there are laws that have to be enforced by the judiciary. Now, in as much as the symbol for law is the blind woman, she's supposed to be neutral, she's not supposed to take sides, the eyes are closed, that is the symbol of law. But in truth and in practice, the people that are charged to enforce these laws are human beings with their own personal convictions. Human beings influenced by their own peculiar society and environment. Now, you're coming to a judge that has 2 wives and 4 concubines and 3 side chicks and possibly sleeping with his house help, and you're bringing to him a petition that my husband committed adultery and I want to sue the woman. He would naturally be biased. That's the truth. So we have the law that exists and we have the possibility of practicing and effecting that law, putting that law to motion. And that is where there has always been a challenge. In fact, in all my years of practice and knowledge as a lawyer, I don't think I've ever seen a man convicted of bigamy. That's the truth. But every day we see men that have had court weddings go outside their wives and get married to other people. So that is where the challenge is. It's also important to note that despite May's barrister or Ms. legal counsel, legal team have demanded 100 million naira as damages for adultery, the court is not bound to award such amounts. So the court cannot award more than you asked for. The court cannot second guess you. It cannot award more than you requested, but it can reward less than. That's why sometimes we see these exorbitant amounts being asked for. It's not because people really think that the court would award that amount, but they just put a cap for the court to reward at least lower than that. So sometimes you see people requesting for damages of 10 million naira and the court will award 500,000 naira in damages. So that's how it works. So let's go to the next paragraph. Both Judy and Yul are aware of the lawsuit, having received copies of the suit papers by email. Remember, I told you guys about substituted means of service. We'll get there. Surprisingly, both Yul and Judy are avoiding service of that process upon them. The court bailiff has tried so many times to serve them in accordance with the rules of law, but they have evaded service of court process. Despite the braggadocious and social media stunts, Yuledoche and Judy are facing serious legal challenges and they seem ill-prepared for them, given the fact that they have been evading service of the process. Now, in some 2 videos back, I'm going to link the video down in the description box. I explained in details the process of service. Okay, now if a case is instituted against somebody in court, just as May has instituted a case of divorce against Yul and adultery against Judy, right? There is a court staff whose responsibility it is to deliver a copy of that suit and, inform, put the other person on notice, inform them that there is something against them in the court and they should come and defend themselves. Now, this notice is usually delivered physically. And report has it that Yul and Judy are evading service. They have made themselves unavailable to receive this court process. So a lot of people are wondering, they say an innocent mind feareth no accusation, isn't it? People are wondering why, if Judy and Yul feels like they are on their rights and they did the right thing, why are they evading service of the court process? So in that video I made, I also enlightened you guys on the alternative ways of serving people who do not want to physically acknowledge these court processes. And one of them is either pasting it on a very conspicuous part of their houses or sending it through electronic means. And it's refreshing to know that the court has given leave for this process, this court case, to be served to both Judy and Yul via email. The next paragraph says that in addition to the substantive petition, May also filed an order of court restraining Yul from accessing their former matrimonial home. That application is based on the fact that there are genuine security and safety concerns. So yes, according to law, a woman or even a man, yes, it can go both ways, can ask the court to issue a restraining order against their spouse, to keep their spouse away, especially when there is an apprehension of fear or danger. Now, according to what has happened, this mansion, as they call it, has always been a subject of disputes between May and Yuledoche. So according to what has happened, according to what this lawyer is saying, May has filed a restraining order against her husband, and since the court has granted that order, Yul is highly prohibited from being found anywhere around their former matrimonial home. It is a court order, and disobedience of which can have far-reaching consequences, including a jail term. So it is quite disturbing to see that in the next paragraph, it says that despite the combination of circumstances at the present time, last weekend, against all advice, Yul attempted to access the home, now occupied alone by May and her children, but he was stopped by the intervention of law enforcement. He was reminded that henceforth all issues involving his marriage to May and dealings in that regard are sub judice. He should consult his lawyer when and if he hires one and be guided by such a lawyer. So it seems like all this strength and show is focused on social media and not in real life. Yul comes on social media, calling the second woman his peace of mind, acting nonchalant like he doesn't care. So it's a surprise to hear that he's still trying to forcefully gain entrance into the residence where May is occupying. We are not saying that he will be cut away from his children. No, the law does not accept that, except it is proven that it is risky for him to be with his children. But if it is not, this order is a temporal order pending when the divorce proceeding is concluded. When the divorce proceeding is concluded, the judge, in his or her wisdom, will accord and apportion visiting and custodian rights to both parents. The law will not permanently keep him away from the children. So if he had a lawyer, or if he listens to his lawyer's advice, his lawyer will tell him that for now, just obey this court process, stay away from the home, stay away from this woman. When the proceeding is brought to an end, custody will be given. And if the children, that's if they want to go with you, because the court will not force a child to a parent that he or she does not want to be with. That's one thing. I've seen situations whereby judges will call the child and ask the child, which of your parents are you more comfortable with? Yes, no judge. You know, when it comes to custodianship, what's important in law is not how to be fair to the contending parties. No, it is the interest of the child that is paramount. So if May's children do not feel comfortable being around Jewel, then he will be required to stay away from them for the rest of their lives. So I'm going to keep following very closely on this case. As you guys know, divorce proceedings are a public case. Anybody can go to court and file for a copy of it. Yes, that's the truth. That's why it's so heartbreaking to see divorce proceedings, because you're going to see very deep, intimate secrets of, couples being spilled in public documents. Yes, divorce documents are public documents and they can be accessed by anybody. So I'm going to keep tabs on this process and I'm going to inform you guys as it proceeds. In a very recent clip, Judy has taken to social media to heap praises and accolades on Adultery, calling him names in Igbo that can be interpreted to a warrior, a strong man, a man that cannot be shaken. Take a look at this.
Angels are behind you, they are in front of you, they are by your sides. If you say you are strong, try this man and you will collect. You are fully protected by the armor of God Almighty. Move, no one can but what is simply Jofo? Isimili Keja Katakofo. Ezedike 1 of Unteje. Ezedike 1 of Unteje. Odogu. Odogu, you will walk with your shoulders high. Odogu, and you will never stumble. Nothing will happen. Nothing can happen to you. Thank you are a good man. Only now, like, let the person go and hawk transformer. You are a good man. You're the best man in the whole Africa. Watch me anywhere. You are the best. King of warriors. The king of warriors. The king of warriors. The king of warriors. Hey! The king of warriors.
And when this news broke, this news that May was taking Judy to court for adultery, these two also released the video in some sort of response to the whole event. So we are watching, guys. I will be following very keenly on all the court processes and everything that is happening, and be sure that as new information make it out, I'll be the first to let you know. So if you're not subscribed, do well to hit the subscribe icon, turn on your bell notifications, give this video a big thumbs up, and stay glued because we have so much more coming your way. It's me again, your girl Barrister Neze, and this is Nezavale. I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye.